You imagine gliding overnight to the Highlands in hushed hotel comfort. Your guests close the door, turn a brass key, and breathe out. They press a bell, and a steward appears with tea and warm biscuits. The country slides past while city problems fade into the night. Morning brings a silver tray, a fresh coffee, and a bill worth paying. You own the country's most talked about luxury sleeper train. A London to Scotland night journey becomes your signature route. Cabins book out months ahead, wedding couples and executives queue, reviews say unforgettable, calm, and the best sleep in years. You run a rolling boutique hotel and the train never looks tired. Then you read the track bills and the fantasy slows a little. Network rail charges for every mile and for not running too. Charter-type access can start around £1 per train mile. Traction electricity can reach about £5 per train mile. New sleepers once cost roughly millions each, not hundreds of thousands. Every mile also wears the vehicles, bringing its own per-mile toll. Stewards smile, but wages and rosters must align around human sleep. Your lounge pours champagne, but margins hinge on careful portioning. The distance promises romance. The distance also multiplies costs. You decide to build from nothing with eyes open to the bills. We'll count the cost, test demand, model profits, and survive reality. First, what exactly do you need to own before a wheel turns? Your main asset is the rolling hotel itself, one coach at a time. Now comes the hard choice, new coaches or rebuild classics. You start by choosing your fleet because the fleet defines everything. A proper sleeper coach offers private rooms, washrooms, and thick insulation. Most cabins occupy half the width with bunks or a fixed double bed. Ensuite cabins sell best. They also reduce overall cabin count. Space is finite. Every bathroom steals space from another seat or berth. New builds for sleepers recently totaled about £100 million. 75 coaches for government-backed service landed near that figure. That implies roughly £1 to £2 million per coach, depending. Refurbishing older stock can be cheaper, but certification adds cost. Refurbish may be half to two-thirds the price, with reliability caveats. Hotel-style power demands upgraded electrics, HVAC, and fire systems. A lounge car lifts perceived luxury and ticket yield significantly. A compact galley prepares breakfasts, late snacks, and hot drinks. Fine dining on rails is limited by motion, storage, and staffing. Your consist might be 9 to 12 coaches on a British route. 8 sleepers plus lounge, kitchen, and staff car service vehicles. On the West Coast Main Line, a Class 92 can haul a heavy night set. A diesel is still needed for non-electrified branches or diversions. Whichever fleet you choose, long-term maintenance is part of the purchase. New fleets reduce surprise failures, but teething issues are common. You'll need spare coaches, one for lounge, a couple of sleepers. Diagnostics hardware and spare stock aren't optional on night operations. With the main asset pictured, how do you fit it for actual service? Fitting out, certifying, and licensing each coach becomes your next gate. Before passengers sleep aboard, regulators want boxes ticked thoroughly. Fire retardancy for fabrics, foams, and surfaces must prove compliant. Clearances, door seals, inter-vehicle gangways, and emergency egress matter. Accessibility rules require accessible accommodation and onboard pathways. Safety kit, signage, and training integrate with train procedures. Electrical systems need type approval and electromagnetic compatibility checks. Potable water storage and waste handling require hygiene protocols. Retention toilets with proper servicing protect tracks and stations. Fire detection in cabins, gangways, kitchens, and electrical spaces is essential. Ride quality, brake performance, and wheel-rail interaction get tested. Drivers learn routes, speed limits, signals, and nighttime hazard points. You apply for operating licenses, safety certificates, and insurance. Stewards train in evacuation, first aid, conflict management, and service. Your galley passes inspections on temperature control and cleanliness. Maintenance plans define A, B, and C checks by mileage and calendar. You contract a depot with night availability for hotel-style operations. Routes must support train height, weight, and electrical earthing demands. Timetabling slots at night are limited and fiercely guarded by planners. Weekend engineering possessions will disrupt you, often and unpredictably. Insurance premiums reflect rolling stock value and overnight passenger risk. Even bed ladders and rails meet design standards before guests climb. At last you can open, if you have people to run the hotel on rails. Next comes building a team that manages sleep, service, and safety. Drivers sit at the sharp end, licensed for your specific traction. Two-person coverage helps with fatigue, failures, and diversions. Onboard managers handle dispatch, tickets, and incident coordination. Stewards deliver hospitality, safety briefings, and first response. Chefs and galley assistants prepare, plate, and portion economically. Housekeepers turn cabins fast and replenish amenities during dwell times. Cleaning crews board at origin and destination to deep clean quickly. Technicians cover overnight checks, faults, and depot liaison. Control staff reroute around possessions, delays, and late connections. Schedulers plan duty rosters that respect night work limits. HR and training keep competencies current and records audit ready. Procurement gets linen, toiletries, food, and spares in on time. Finance watches cash burn between deposits and final balances. Operations plan recovery when something inevitably fails at 03:00 warehouse. Customer care handles rebookings and refunds when paths disappear. Security deters antisocial behavior and assists vulnerable passengers. Marketing sells sleep and scenery instead of speed or price. Legal navigates track access, depot deals, and open access rights. Culture matters. Tired teams need mutual trust and clear routines. Critical drills rehearse rare but high-risk events methodically. A lean team still covers dozens of functions across the 24-hour cycle. With people set, who exactly rides your train and how do you reach them? Finding those customers requires clarity. Leisure luxury, business, or both. You'll target couples, small groups, and time-sensitive professionals. The London-Scotland corridor has demand, scenery, and recognizable endpoints. Airlines compete on speed and price, they're your main rival. Day trains offer comfort and work time, especially in first class. Cars compete on door-to-door convenience, especially off the main line. A night train replaces both travel and one hotel night if priced right. Frictionless booking matters. Pick a cabin, add dinner, pay, done. Imagery must sell rest, privacy, and views, not speed or status. A simple loyalty perk nudges repeat leisure and corporate bookings. Early PR rides with journalists generate curiosity and word of mouth. User photos of breakfast in bed sell more than any advert line. Corporate buyers need VAT invoices, flexible fares, and punctuality data. Occasional themed journeys add scarcity and lift willingness to pay. Partnering with hotels or distilleries deepens the trip's perceived value. Comparisons should emphasize sleep quality and time regained the next day. Gift vouchers smooth cash flow and fill shoulder season departures. Weekend nights fill most easily. Midweek needs packages and corporate. Baggage allowances outshine the rush and restrictions of hand luggage only. Above all, privacy is the product. Compete on that relentlessly. You'll track load factor, average yield, and net promoter score. Still, planes will undercut you. You must command a sleep premium. Sell the night, not the miles. Customers book feelings more than facts. So where does every pound of revenue really come from on board? Cabin fares dominate, but extras matter more than you think. Your core revenue is cabin fares, tiered by space and amenities. Entry-level single-occupancy cabins sell on privacy at a lower rate. Ensuite doubles sell at a meaningful premium, especially for couples. Convertible family cabins capture small groups at high total spend. Dining revenue comes from pre-booked meals with limited walk-ups. The bar lifts yield, but margins depend on portion control and waste. Amenity upgrades, robes, and gifts nudge spend on memorable items. Connectivity and workspace bundles can be monetized for business travelers. Whole train charters for brands and weddings sell rare nights at premium. Partial charters of a few cars protect schedule and general availability. Breakfast and cabin upsells with local produce anchor perceived luxury. Late-night snacks and soft drinks add quiet, predictable margin. Pre-order cards smooth prep and reduce over-catering waste. Special routes or added stops sell novelty dates at higher prices. Corporate deals trade small discounts for a predictable midweek volume. Vouchers and gifting create cash now for travel later. Onboard micro-events, tastings, or talks can fill quiet periods on board. Loyalty redemptions encourage premium upsells even when points reduce fares. Bundles, dinner plus late checkout, drive higher spend per cabin. Aim for cabins near 70–85% of revenue with bar and food lifting yield. Load factor and yield together decide whether you survive winter. Now let's count the relentless costs that eat those pounds. Start with the biggest operating expense and work down. Mileage drives costs. Every mile rings several cash registers at once. Track access for charters sits around £1 per train mile. Electric current for traction can reach about £5 per train mile. Vehicle wear charges apply per vehicle mile, set by regulators. Diesel legs burn fuel quickly. Electric legs rely on that current bill. Wages for stewards, chefs, housekeepers, and conductors add up nightly. Drivers and traction changes complicate rosters and overtime premiums. Linen hire, laundry, and replacements are constant and unavoidable. Food costs depend on pre-orders, negotiated supply, and wastage. Bar margins are high, but shrinkage or freebies chip at profits. Depot fees buy reliable pits, jacks, and night access windows. Maintenance spares and contractor callouts appear at the worst times. Insurance for rolling stock and passengers costs meaningful annual sums. IT systems, CRM, and ticketing fees nibble steadily at margins. If you financed coaches, interest and repayments dominate early years. Energy and utilities fluctuate. You buffer cash for spikes. Cleaning, consumables, and pest control are constant quiet costs. Legal and compliance bills rise during audits and disputes. Marketing spend remains necessary to backfill off-peak nights. Inflation lifts everything: wages, spares, utilities, and catering. Credit terms matter. Your suppliers want payment before returns arrive. Seasonality swings cash flow. You must bank summer for winter. To break even, consolidate trains, trim consists, and price confidently. Hidden costs, rules, and downtime are next and can derail plans. Planned engineering possessions will cancel or reroute profitable nights. Operators often pay an access charge supplement to protect against disruptions. Think of it as insurance against network closures that stop your train. If you can't run, revenue dies while many costs still run. Communicating changes must be fast, clear, and fairly handled. Freight, late-day trains, and engineering teams all compete for paths. Night rosters must meet fatigue rules, limiting last-minute changes. Security spot checks and alcohol service rules add operational steps. Audits require you to produce training logs, maintenance records, and reports. Lead times for bogie or HVAC parts can force coach withdrawals. Crew positioning and rest accommodation strain schedules and budgets. Heat buckles rails, snow freezes points, wind drops trees across lines. Catering kit fails too. Without it, tonight's menu becomes dry snacks. Wheel flats happen after emergency stops, taking coaches out of rotation. Even with a booking, depot access can bottleneck urgent fixes. A blocked access road can delay fueling, stores, or cleaning crews. Contracts hide penalties for late return, dirty return, or damage. Contingency plans pre-bought today save reputations tomorrow. A cash reserve covers 2 or 3 worst-case bad months. Minor clauses about timetables can become major headaches during possessions. Robust processes and honest communication limit the damage. Every disruption should feed training and route plan improvements. Now, what about the risks you truly can't control? Demand slips when recession hits. Leisure and premium travel contract first. Energy costs swing. Electric current or diesel price shocks land suddenly. Airlines discount aggressively after shocks, pulling demand from sleepers. Cheaper petrol phases or new road capacity lift car appeal. Weather can down wires and points, shutting routes for hours or days. Global parts shortages keep coaches out of service longer. Policy changes can alter access, supplements, and regulatory fees. Strikes disrupt both railway operations and your own roster coverage. Bad headlines cut bookings fast. Recovery lags weeks behind. A state-backed sleeper can undercut you to grow network ridership. IT outages or attacks stop sales and check-ins at critical moments. If you source stock or spares in euros, currency swings change budgets. Public health scares convert sleepers back to empty, rolling hotels. Rare defects ground fleets, forcing refunds plus replacement travel. Demand volatility complicates staffing and food prep decisions nightly. Instability means you must flex capacity quickly without destroying yield. Timetable changes cascade through staffing, rolling stock, and marketing. When dips occur, your recovery plan must be rehearsed and costed. Charters can cancel late, exposing you to lost bar and food spend. Your liquidity buffer must be large enough to outweigh external shocks. You can't control the sky, you can control your readiness. Which brings us to a real sleeper operation and its hard lessons. Let's examine the recent experience of Britain's overnight operator. Scotland's overnight services connect the Highlands and Lowlands to London. A major fleet renewal brought about 75 new coaches to service. Public support underpinned the capital. The operator handled day-to-day. Despite new stock, financial strain eventually ended the private franchise early. Public reports indicated tens of millions in cumulative losses over years. The overall franchise was once valued around hundreds of millions over term. New fleet still suffered teething problems, repairs, and reputational knocks. Mixed traction, electric mainline, diesel branches complicated operations. Cancellations and delays fed press coverage and customer frustration. Service elements delighted when smooth, but failures were memorable. Revenue rose with premium cabins, but costs rose faster some months. Network possessions repeatedly cut capacity and hurt average occupancy. Teams adapted, but night operations strained even experienced organizations. Ultimately, the service moved into public control under a holding company. Learning 1. New trains help branding, not automatic profitability. Learning 2. Network disruption risk is larger than initial spreadsheets. Learning 3. Premium cabins alone cannot offset systemic volatility. Learning 4. Strong contingency and cash buffers are not optional. Learning 5. Partnerships with the network owner matter daily. For you, the message is sobering but actionable. Budget bigger buffer, expect teething, design your route for resilience. Now think about growth, bigger trains or more nights, and the dangers. Scaling helps profits but magnifies every weak link in the chain. Adding cars spreads crew and locomotive cost over more cabins. Unit cost per cabin drops as you add sleepers to a point. But British platforms can limit length. Selective door opening complicates. Spares shelf space and depot siding length constrain growth physically. Running extra nights raises utilization and revenue but reduces maintenance windows. More nights demand larger crews and deeper rostering sophistication. A second route diversifies demand but doubles network relationships. Each added train multiplies disruption exposure, not just revenue. Shared marketing, central kitchen prep, and bulk buying help scale. Catering and consumable prices fall with reliable, larger orders. Depots may need upgrades. Capital returns are long and slow. Spares pool must grow. One failure shouldn't cancel a sold-out night. Training throughputs and assessors must scale to avoid staff gaps. Tighter turns risk late departures. Your premium segment hates lateness. You'll need more locomotives or guaranteed haulage contracts every night. Cash swings grow with volume. Peak season fills are vital. Bigger trains need menus to scale without service times exploding. More customers mean more service recovery work per disrupted trip. Data discipline becomes essential. The network will expect your evidence. Regular joint planning with the infrastructure owner is a must. Expand only when your first route's KPIs are consistently strong. If your core train is stable, then growth can truly compound. Now, let's run numbers. 1 realistic success, 1 difficult case. Assume 10 coaches, 8 sleepers, 1 lounge, 1 galley service. With 10 cabins per sleeper, you offer 80 cabins nightly. Target load, about 75% average across the year. Average yield, suppose an overall 380 per occupied cabin. That's 60 cabins sold, totaling about $20 to the $800 per one-way trip. Return runs similar, near $4,500–600 of revenue for 1 round trip. Distance around 400–600 miles one way, depending on endpoints. Per train mile, around $6 for access and current combined baseline. At 500 miles, that's roughly $3,000 for those 2 items alone. Add vehicle wear charges per coach mile, material but route specific. Crew wages, drivers, and catering might reach several thousands nightly. Food and bar costs scale with pre-orders and sales, targeting 60 to 70% margin. Allocate maintenance and depot fixed costs across monthly rotations. If financed, rolling stock repayments can dominate early profit. In a good case, $45K revenue, $36K operating costs, margin remains. A buffer absorbs cancellation so good months aren't wiped out. In a tough case, 55% load, $300 average yield, 44 cabins sold. That's $24,000 one way, about $48,000 round trip before refunds. Lose a leg to possessions, refunds, and hotels destroy a week's margin. If current rises or wear charges increase, nightly costs exceed takings. Survival then relies on variable rostering and trimmed consists. You either reduce frequency or lift yields with premium-only offers. 3 months cash becomes your line between recovery and closure. Your honest verdict depends on resilience, partnerships, and capital. The romance is real, but romance doesn't pay the traction bill. Rule 1. Design routes for minimal diesel legs and robust electrics. Rule 2. Pre-plan diversions, hotel partners, and coach transfers. Rule 3. Target corridors mixing leisure weekends and corporate midweeks. Rule 4. Watch unit costs, add cars only when load justifies length. Rule 5. Meet the infrastructure owner regularly with data and respect. Rule 6. Drill safety and service recovery until it's muscle memory. Rule 7. Standardize portions, cut waste, and sell pre-orders firmly. Rule 8. Hold a real buffer, 2 to 3 months minimum operating cash. Rule 9. Build local partnerships for stories and resilient supplies. Rule 10. Negotiate path reliability and depot access before marketing. You absorb the stress, they should never see it. This business can profit, but margins are narrow and seasonal. A successful operator sells sleep, not speed, and delivers reliably. Case studies show pride and pain. Learn from both without romance. If you're meticulous, financed prudently, and pragmatic, it can work. Scale carefully. Doubling trains doubles trouble if foundations wobble.